to somehow. I am Villanelle. I'm from Balikbayan boxes, veiled markers of identity. I'm from sunken galleons, misspent fragment of empires. I'm from hand-knotted piña fibers, a cultivar of possibilities. I'm from blue and white pottery, ghostly and full of stories. I'm from unglazed earthenware, seasoned with intent and fire. I'm from Balikbayan boxes, movement of tenacity. I'm from the heartwood of wounded lion aloes, an unfortunate luxury. I'm from glory of the sea cone, prized for its venom and spire. I'm from ocean crossings, an arbitrary and seaworthy possibility. I'm from repeated prayers and offerings, a Hail Mary pass and 9 days to mercy. I'm from doomed love stories and ghosts with a grievance, manifesting ire and satire. I'm from a precarious bloodline, a Balikbayan genealogy. I'm from the mother of all fiestas, sanguinary and exhibiting miraculously. I'm from broken rosaries, indulgence for blessed and blooded modifiers. I'm from possibilities in a family tree that doesn't end with me. I'm from buried treaties north of an archipelago, debris of synchronicity. I'm from a chronology of losses and one wedded and wilder soothsayer. I'm from Balikbayan boxes, veiled markers of identity. I am foreshadowed in good faith, a possibility, empire of centuries. Hate is lead-wrapped, follows a corkscrew path. All 1/25th of a human heart to tear apart skin, sinew, bone, prized tissue. Rips as it leaves a bleeding vessel that is the weight of someone's love. Haint blue. To free yourself of the haint, you need to vanquish it. Paint your porch the color of water, which is power, with the might to scatter blue light to the green of seawater. But remember how heavy color can be. How shades of blue came from true indigo, which needed an abundance of water and limestone above the bedrock before it became a cash crop, which needed to be pounded and crushed and dusted with wood ash to make blue cakes, which was the currency of slavery. A bolt of cloth dyed indigo for one human body. But mixed with lime and some white mineral, it resembled water, which haints could not cross over. From the vow made, let this be an offering to the dead and sacred. Pozole, pavo, poema, sapo. What was sown on fallow ground was corn, white as bone. Let the earth and the little water it holds shelter every tassel and blister. Let it yield a crop. Somewhere north, your fate lies on a bedstone, head down, crouching so close to the ground. Sapo, when you cross the border, you will not be coming back. You will be called migrant and vagrant. The last words you will hear are foreign and without mercy. But from a vow made, there will be offerings like this, growing in rows, swearing justice in your name. Thank you. Sea level rises, spilling into clubhouses. We never have a casual conversation when we talk about the rain. It's about the levee, the water cisterns, the rain garden system, all the invisible threads of homestead, sewer, seabed, watershed, and the whole damn planet, as if they mattered. Pagbabalik. My father returned twice to the river, now steeper than when he first knew it. Its wild waters meandering with the widest bends. So much of who he was shaped by movement outside my line of sight. So much struggle upriver before reaching gravel and calmer waters. My ancestors, the river dwellers, were known in the history of song to trade silk cotton for cauldrons and betel nuts for iron pots. But so much of how they lived depended on mangroves and women warriors who read Kawi and Sanskrit ciphers, scripts on copper, the bluest star cluster. Still like air, we rise toward the light, our movement widening as though in prayer, holy and urgent. I will say your name, an act of love more powerful than the weight of air or the falling of light. Like clouds speaking their truth, every heap and layer, every curl of hair, a reckoning. Still, I pray for grace to hear your story and what you know of clouds, why they shine at night, where they touch the ground, how they birth a star. Perhaps you'll want to know my story and why these queries, like what will it cost to cross an inch of scorn or climb a wall of fear? How much to plow the air, to read the clouds? How much for a sip of water, a gulp of air? How much for 3 square feet of space, for the narrowest breathing place? How much for the life of my child? Still I ask, an act of grace as I rise toward the light. Thank you so much.
Whose water do we cross here at the Martinez Bridge? Americans are defined by crossing water, Atlantic, Mississippi, Rio Grande, Pacific, defined by the water that clings in our hair, our blood. These blacktop waters, yardsticks of imagination, heft of curiosity, draping like prophecy, Martinez to the truckee. Whose water? We fling ourselves to Nevada City, Sparks to Tonopah, whose sacred places? Dusted with abandoned nests of settlers, dead homes, dead towns by the river highways, the slow and patient places, a brick chimney, a broken-backed barn, our intrusive, curious reaching, not the first. Sierra Nevada will tell us where to cross, not on human scale. Swirls of stone, the thumbprints of the sacred, human measures, thumb, forearm, heel, toe, not here. Not on human scale, these valleys. But the desire to measure, to build boxes for the prayers. And here they are, the boxes, near the baffling confusion hillsides. These are the stages of living rock, the mountain, the letting go, the tumble, ending both as individual and collective, polished alone. River stone is to hillside as a splitting off, a moving out. Curiosity, Nevada, a place of moving through, and Utah negotiates bird by bird, a brick chimney, a broken-back barn along the living highway, patient and quiet. Runoff laces hillside bird, raptor and corvid, hillside carved by water. The boxes for prayers, while outside the hillsides, the trees, mystery trees, evergreen, sacred, and prayers without end to the edges. The hidden water, the sparkle water. Whose water? Dead filling stations, Kerouac Cafe, psalms, arcanes for a new age, curiosity become canon. Whose water do we cross? Whose younger mountains? All legend now. Colorado, Rockies, chatty aspens, birch. Cross the continental divide at Monarch Pass, pulls San Francisco Bay, pulls mine and mind tailings of a past self piled on the mountain. The poison we thought we'd removed, leaching back into whose water? Legend and fact, legend, fact, the fall from Denver to Salina, electrical storm flashing in cloud lanterns. Whose water? Whose dead filling stations? Whose historical societies? Spoons and farm equipment, brick corner buildings, old and fading posters pressing palms against the buildings, raptors and corvids, prayers to the edges, Shelu, singing tassels in harvest from close fields, measured sacred, mouths full of prayer, human scale. The tires, cry it on the highway, the toll road, and what's a road trip for but to create legendary pilgrimage, chutes and waste of collective history, persuasive ringing of selected history. We roll, we ride, we fly across water. We come to see the lightning, to be the lightning, to read the poems, curious and stubborn. The young people of the vast and immeasurable prayers, the young that are hope, hold hands full of solution puzzles, listen for what tools can be pulled from these words. My prayer songs, raptors that they are, dead filling stations that they are, but the bricks of the chimney, the sometimes sturdy if empty foundation. We sing, we blaze like the fire, we eat the corn, the mouth of sacred, the mutual care of sacred, the reach of artist to artist. Gift of being heard, we pull our kin around us and sing. Community care is self-care. I'm some of this water, some of these hillsides, most of the mind tailings. Ozarks sing in redbud and hickory, crystal and smokehouse sandwiches, a sweet hip rock dance of leaf, stone. Yes, I said it. These hills call me, and the Mississippi pulls hook deep in throat and belly. Just before we cross her, a church, a box for prayer, brick and abandoned, but for walnut trees, pressing leaves against the glass from the inside. And outside, the great and singing river, prayers caress out to the edges, the tug of those hooks open me stories, new, misremembered, bedrock old stories, birthed from wounds in heart, hawk scream breakfast, the road, the curiosity, the colonization, the old war. This is the singing that took that Lumbee boy. Another dead filling station, another red cardinal, another river slipping under the tires. I am peach pie and a jar of buttons. I'm local honey. I'm a rib shack with fried okra and black-eyed peas. These are moans of recognition, water moans, the cry of Atlanta. This water I know. More hawk scream. The tabby kitten fence walking before noon. The smell of these exact trees. A smile before the storm. The storm's coming. North, and we have become motel people, empty bottles in the parking lot, the smoke in the stairwell. We are the prayers at the edges in an all too human scale, a cathedral fire. In the night, the police come. Further north, prayers twined in the tree bark and lichen on the edges of the middle place, prayers all the way to the forest, all the way to the ocean, singing in my fingertips, my back teeth, singing in the old injuries. Tires, measuring for those who need measure. We wait for the star falls, the rain falls, the store and spill of electricity from cloud to cloud. Measuring, because measuring's a habit, a spasm, because none of this is on human scale. And here the water knows me, home forest, rocks, written with story, with ritual, with the spaces between, roadside trees, fantasy draped with kudzu costumes, ecstatic river songs. The mountains are steaming. There's fog on the mountain. It's called a cloud, and it holds on to it. Whose water now? This house has settled into the hollow, is settling still. Each narrow wall slat, each murmuring floorboard, every stair, well water from someone's origin place. Further north, into gentle trees, the electrical storm rocks us between walls, walls at angles, stairs at angles, and the bear rummages the old apple tree in darkness. The mantis and tiger swallowtail rummage the late light, More puzzle box, more wild scale. And if there's a constant, it's the dead building, fainting slowly, falling away, like rocks off of a mountain, polished alone. A piece, a key, a symptom. Then to the city made of story, mistranslated, mispronounced, Library of Congress, a mountain, each book polished, whose water, mispronounced, mislaid, misdiagnosed. Mixed feelings. In the eye of my own disappearance, if I look deep, I can see my reflection. Everything here is on human scale, everything but the high watermarks on the boxes for prayers, the boxes for the creation story, a hot lie at the center. Self-replicating. We shake loose, west and north, into mountains with a clearer eye, over rivers whose waters can trace my threads, track my beads back to when we were closer cousins. These train tracks, not river, but measure, brush strokes of control, falling away from the mountain like any other rock does, polishing on the laybys, on the spurs, aging, learning to sing river songs and come to rest against a box, stones that have settled in, settled down, and the story streets that float above the water. WPA Bridge of the Neosho. I stood on it in full flood with my dad, the water just kissing the underside of the boards, the river moans shivering up my legs. It stood until a flood licked out the footings. They replaced it, but when I dreamed the Neosho, the old bridge is there. They took the zinc out until they hit the daylight of 3rd Street. You could see the crack in the pavement. It looked like another pothole, and there was sunlight in the mine. Sunlight just there, with the dull ache of lead and the grim scowl of Jack. Those cottonmouths know some songs, too. They know some fish songs. And once, crossing Tar Creek Bridge, a grandma snake got hit by a pickup, and in her last breaths, we drove up on her there like a burning library, her songs falling away in curls, taken by updrafts like smoke prayers near the water. She looked me in the heart and whispered, just the one secret. Thank you so much.
When you think about how the earth would be so much better off without us, you start to consider the possibility that we are the aliens. Maybe that is why the billionaires are planning to return to their home planets as soon as they have taken all they can. Maybe that is why we cannot seem to recognize or understand the brilliance of plants and other species. But the indigenous people did not harm the earth. Maybe they are the only ones who should be here. But we were all once indigenous, even if we are not where we started out. Maybe that is why non-native plants and animals always end up destroying ecosystems. Maybe we should figure out where we come from, which tribe we belong to, so we can assimilate the ways of ancestors who knew how to live in communion with each other and the earth. Thanks.
He was restive in a kind of marijuana way and needed lots of therapy to pull back from the brink. Not that he didn't go there often, but as Elon Musk's therapist, I preferred him kind of sleepy. He was Elon Musk and he needed lots of help. I saw him 7 days a week. He'd say, I want to have sex on the moon. And I'd ask, do you want to talk about that? The way Richard Dreyfuss would talk to Bill Murray in that movie, What About Bob? And when he said he wanted to be the first to do it on our nearest celestial neighbor, I pressed, well, how are you going to get there, Elon? He bragged, I've already been in space. You may recall my recent blast off. Oh, yes, I remember. But he hadn't even orbited the Earth. I want to have sex up there in a Tesla. Gotcha. I indulged him, but gently chided, you ever think of the homeless? I mean, you could have saved every lost soul in San Francisco with the money you blew into space adventure. At this, he seemed to bristle, but his indignance was brief. Okay, Doc, you have a point, but aren't you just supposed to listen? Do you want to talk about just listen? He said. And so it went, one endless hour after another. For my part, the sessions were proving lucrative. Since no one else would take him as a patient, I was able to really clean up. However, as you will see, I have my limits. One day after we'd been over his childhood for the 100th time, he suddenly said, "Drive me to Oregon." Well, what do you mean, drive you to Oregon? Yeah, like I want to see my grow house up there. Well, that's not exactly part of the therapy deal, me playing chauffeur, but he was adamant. I want to see the whole operation, where my weeds grow, and just how and what's involved, how many armed guards there are, the whole thing. We can have an extra intensive session on the way up the coast. Well, okay, this once, and no Tesla. We'll take my Kia. I don't trust that car of yours. It might decide to drive us into the ocean or something. Come on, there are only a few fatalities. My Kia or no deal. Elon pouted but caved on the transportation. We set out and he babbled and babbled because it was a 6-hour trip and I felt stressed. At one point he said, "Oh, wow, look at the redwoods, man. They're really red, aren't they? But in a weird kind of way because they're not like really red, but I don't know. You could call them off red maybe, I don't know. But actually red was the color of my tricycle and the redwoods seem to have brownish aspects too and stuff. Gosh, they're really high, aren't they?" I was going to ask him, "You want to talk about that?" But he already was talking about it way too much. When we visited the grow house, the Mexicans were on their best behavior, the boss being there and all. They deferred, and they looked at the ground, and they fell all over themselves. He savored the aroma of the pot and asked all kinds of questions. He smoked too much of it, the extremely powerful substance that once landed Robert Mitchum in jail. He gave all the cartel guys a substantial raise on the spot, and we got back on the highway. Not much longer. It won't take too long. I pulled off at a viewpoint for fresh air. Elon sprawled oblivious. A local Oregonian had spotted my California license plate, and he was looking for trouble. "You lost or something?" And I said, "Or something." With a little bit of an attitude of my own. Okay, hold it, sorry. I should be memorizing like I used to, right? Okay.
He did memorize.
Okay, it's almost over though, right? Or something. There had been something in my tone. I was tired. I was tired of Elon. I was tired of dope and dopey people. And in no time at all, we were fighting. "Go home," he kept saying until I knocked him out. Elon had been no help at all. It barely stirred from his marijuana crash. "Dude," he finally said. And I unloaded. "Hey, while you were out there past Pluto, I had to deal with a maniac who had issues with anyone from the state to his south." But Elon, with a certain mischievous grin, only asked, "Do you want to talk about that?"
Water protectors of the world. Mini Wachone. So these are songs. Our tribe lost over 90% of our people just 100 years ago. And I'm learning some mourning or grieving songs. After we lost these people, our people, then most of our children were taken to the boarding schools, where our children had the highest death rate and missing and murdered death rate. So I'm going to sing a couple of songs that are grieving, mourning songs. Yana he yongo, yana he ya, yana he yongo, oh he ne ya. Yana he yongo, yana he ya, yana he yo. Ong hai yana he ya, yana he yo. Ong hai yana he yongo, oh he ne ya. Da Fort Silita da banga chnai tashku janishku jon no hi ne ya. Da aduna gujoni da benoshni da benoshni uanira chnaguye ong hai na he yong o hine ya. Hey ya, hey ya, hey ya. Hene ya na he ne ya, hey ya, hene ya, hey ya, hene ya na he ne ya, do haya na de ya ne, tashi ya hey yo, hene ya na he ne ya, hey ya hey yo, hene ya na he ne ya. Hayana dea ne Tashia hey yo hene ya na he ne ya hey ya hey ya hey ya hey ya hey ya. Indigenous people, support the water protectors. A lot of them have really, really high legal fees for taking care of us everywhere. Thank you, thank you.
I remember the day that I started to play in the game of life called Power. I see in my mind the place and the time. I even remember the hour. It was Saturday night and the moon was bright, and the game, they were stalking their prey. In the neon light, the cold was blind, and the weak, they was doomed to pay. And you can forget that quote that the Christians wrote about honesty and fair play, because you can't live on the streets without knowing how to cheat, because the game just don't play that way. So I'm sitting with my partners digging the sounds. I hear my first name called, so I turned around. She had eyes like diamonds. They was big, bright, and bold, and her smooth, soft skin was the color of gold. Meaning no disrespect, but a true Harlem player got a reputation to protect. So I smoothed my way through the crowd and walked up on her and looked into her eyes, and deep, dark, liquid pools of loveliness enchanted me. I took her by the hand, I led her to the dance floor, and just as we got to the dance floor, the DJ played, "Bet you by golly, wow, you're the one that I've been waiting for forever." So now I got up on the dance floor and stuff, you know, and we dancing, we all uptight and stuff like that, and I'm feeling her fingers touching me, mesmerizing my body, moving all over me. And for some reason, right about then, I thought about Father Murnian and the dances that we used to have at the Catholic Church. And Father Murnian used to always come by and he'd say, "Make room for the Holy Ghost. Make room for the Holy Ghost." Well, there was no room for the Holy Ghost because we was finna do it on the dance floor. I said, "Let's get out of here." So we went to her place, you know, we got to her place, and it was like she turned out the lights, lit a candle. And I was like, if I'm dreaming, just let me sleep. Don't wake me up till my dream is complete. You know, so we got off in there, we made love. We made love, 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 love. And we got through making love, warm kisses, tender caresses. We made love some more. You know, so I had a really good night, and I was just feeling it and whatnot, you know. So I left, and I couldn't wait to get to my partners the next day because, you know, everybody saw who I left with, you know. So I wanted to come out. I was like, "Yeah, y'all saw me with baby, right?" You know, and when I got up to them, see, I had been away to college and I didn't know what was going on, and they said, "Man, you don't know about her." And then they start saying all these mean, nasty things about her, you know. And I had a date with her in about an hour, you know. So I went to the date and I saw her, and as I approached her, I said to her, "My friends feel it's their appointed duty. They keep trying to tell me all you want to do is use me. But my answer to all that use me stuff, just keep on using me. Hey, hey, come on, baby, come Thank you.
911, we have been bombed. It has come to pass. Oops, upside the head. But wait a minute now. This is what we do. We bomb buildings. We kill people. We kill citizens. Oops, I'm sorry. It's collateral damage. Now we know how it feels, Lordy have mercy, to have collateral damage. Those buildings have crumbled to the ground, 110 floors each and then some, with people from New York, with we like to party, New York people, falling, dreams crushed, making that last phone call. That's not a picture of a burning building in Iraq or Palestine. That's down the block, near Century 21, where I go shopping sometimes. Some of us want to retaliate. What are we gonna do? What can anyone do to top this? Go to war? That's government-sanctioned terrorism, in case you didn't know. This was precision surgery, an operation to knock out the economic lifeline and military intelligence at the same time. You know that pilot that was headed to the White House found out in mid-flight that Bush was in Florida? That state saved his ass again. We are the good guys. We have been trumped. Our ass has been kicked like a virgin fucked up for the very first time. Virgin Mary, pathological liar, and defender of the free world. Somebody was asleep at the wheel. Somebody said we might want to look at the message. I think they're trying to tell us something. Apparently, somebody is not pleased with our foreign policy or foreign policing and this global racial profiling. They're not having it. Somebody said we need to start leaving those people alone. Maybe stop bombing their ass. Maybe stop giving their land away, for starters. Somebody took those men with their funny head wraps and funny looking outfits who pray 5 to 10 times a day to the east, my brother, to the east, my sister. Somebody took them for granted. They call them sand niggers, you know. Didn't think that when we sent them to our own military schools, that little Muhammad and Hassan would try to outdo the teacher. Junior learned his lessons well. Did you see how surprised the newscasters were? Some of those hijackers knew how to fly a plane. Those men with their funny head wraps and funny-looking outfits are light years ahead of our super pseudo-intelligent, three-piece suit-wearing government heads of state. And they are really, really mad at us, at all of us. Holy shit. Somebody call 911. That's it.
Oh, where's my little hen? Oh, where's my little hen? Morn round about dawn, rend a dream. Beak shy of one kiss, nestle lip to wake me. Sky torn, let a feather drop in for sunflower seeds and tea. Repose, look up, stare down God. Repose, look up, stare down God. Keen dinosaur flight land on knee, and tiptoe like trapes with a will toward belly. Pond, cinch, in the kitchen neat sink. How splendid a bird bath be. If when did I live too long? If when did I live too long? Less ashes, what found box of loss? Hewn tomb of this heart so unsound, no entry. I'm air, still who listen for wing, here grief were a reverie. Thanks.